Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to episode 2 of the Bijou assembly. So I've done a little bit of work here. We've attached the bed, we have attached the Y rails, the X carriage, and also our towers here, and kind of ran some belts here so I can explain a few things. So to start off, mounting the bed. What I've done here is the bed still mounts with bed screws and some like M4 kind of knobs here so that you can adjust the actual level of the bed. If you can see here, there are some 3D printed kind of plates that attach to this glass build plate with VHB, M3 VHB tape. This tape is temperature resistant to like 130 degrees or something like that, and it works very well for attaching glass beds to these 3D printed mounts here. So there's just a square of VHB tape at each corner, and it holds the bed nice and solid here. This doesn't move at all, and I can adjust the actual bed here, no problems. So that works out very well. Again, generally this printer is made to just print PLA and potentially some PETG. So that'll be totally fine solution for mounting glass. In addition to the bed, I have ordered myself some 100 millimeter 2020, and I might actually make a stiffer bed mount here for people. So that's on order, should be here on Monday. And I might play around with that. I'm going to print with this first and see how rigid it is. It seems to be okay. There's not going to be a whole lot of pressure pressing down on the bed, so I don't think that there'll be any problems. It does seem to be quite stable already, but I do have those 2020 extrusions, so I'll put a 100 millimeter 2020 extrusion back here, and then I'll just basically put two that come out here, and I'll make that stronger if need be. So let's talk about the linear rails here at the top, the Y linear rails. So you're going to want to go on Thingiverse and you're going to want to print out a MGN9 2020 tool. This will ensure your linear rails are relatively centered on your extrusions. And they kind of just slot in like this, and then you can lock down your linear rail. You want to make sure that these carriages here are as level as possible so that you can mount your X extrusion or your X linear rail here. So this is nice and flat as possible. It might take a little bit of time to get everything kind of lined up. My frame or my linear rails definitely don't like to be flat. It takes me quite some time to get these level. I don't know if it's just my hardware or what it is. So I actually can't mount both screws on each end, otherwise I get a lot of binding and stuff like that. But I was able to get this X rail relatively straight, and it's all moving quite nicely, and it's working together quite well there. So just pay attention to that. Make sure that these carriages here are as flat as possible on each side, and then you can mount your rail afterwards. I have added M3 and also M5 parts to the CAD, or to the GitHub, sorry, for your actual idlers. So these are using M5 idlers, which have larger bearings. I did have one of these bearings fail when I was using M3 hardware. These carriages here are still using M3 16 tooth smooth idlers. These are a little bit smaller. I don't have any smooth idlers with the 20 tooth style, so I'm keeping these ones in here. It should be okay, but I do have different carriages on the GitHub for M5 style. So you can go 20 tooth on this printer, or you can go 16 tooth. I do recommend 20 tooth if you can. They are generally M5 hole idlers, and the bearings are a little bit bigger. If you're going to go with the 16 tooth with the M3 style, try to just tension your belts just enough. If you tension them too much and there's too much load on these idlers here, they will fail. So I've just updated the CAD and I put this on GitHub. There are like I say, towers here for M5 style ones or M3, but I recommend the M5 if you want the most robust. So I will just take out my phone here from the mount so we can take a better look at the belt routing. It's relatively straightforward. The belt at the back just is one piece, and your cut belts are at the front. Okay, so we have our belt that actually loops around, goes down the side, loops around here, comes on the inside, and goes out here. That is our first cut piece. So starting from this, we are coming in here, going around the idler, going down here, wrapping around this idler, coming all the way to the motor, wrapping around here, and going around another idler. And again, it goes straight across, around this idler, around this one, all the way down, around this one, on the inside of this, and here's our other cut piece. So these cut pieces meet in the middle here. That's the idea. And if you see here on the tool head, this is an old version of the tool head, by the way. I've made this stronger. And there's also a bridge at the back here so that these pieces are stronger. I actually broke mine, that's why there's hot glue on one side. However, there is a hole here to pass your belts through. The belt sandwiches in between the carriage and this piece. Okay, so what I'll do here is I'm going to stop the video and I'll start a new video with this semi-attached so you can get a better idea. Okay, so here we are zoomed in here to the tool head. And what I've done is I've actually mounted my tool head to my X rail with M3x6 bolts. As a note, I use M3x8 bolts here to mount my Y rails to the 2020. And you can see here I've passed through my belts through the hole on the tool head. So this gives you a nice easy way to pull these belts tight and then lock the belt in with tightening these M3x6 bolts there. You'll also notice here there are two threaded inserts to hold the hot end onto the tool head. And the hot end that I'm using for this build to save money is this CR10 style hot end from Amazon. They're like $13 or $8 on AliExpress, and they do flow decently. I've definitely printed some benchies with these, like 18-minute benchies with these without any problems. But a tip for people building this printer is to line up these inserts here. Take your tool head or take your hot end and put a long M3 bolt through it, and then put a threaded insert on the end of each of the bolts. And then you can take your soldering iron and use the bolts to align these threaded inserts and align them so they press into the back of this tool head nice and straight and with the correct distance between them. You can definitely get these pressed in like really off, and your hot end won't mount to the tool head properly. So that's kind of a tip. Use some long bolts, pass them right through the tool head, through your hot end, use it as an alignment tool, and then press in your inserts in the back with your soldering iron. That'll help this get nice and aligned. And then, like I say, generally what we would do is just pull these tight here, lock these bolts in, and then we can cut the excess belt off. This tool head does support a sail fin direct drive. There's threaded inserts here and here for the sail fin, or you can just run it like this and have your Bowden tube come right out here and have like a Bowden extruder on the back if you want to. So that kind of wraps it up for the X, Y, and mounting the bed. If anyone has any questions, feel free to comment below. I definitely encourage people to join my Discord. There's a Bijou channel on my Discord for people who are interested in building this printer, that type of thing. And if you want to support me on Patreon, I'll put that in the description as below. I appreciate all the support. Thanks again, everyone, and I'll catch you guys next time.